All right. I think it's about that time. Hopefully the audio is all right. Music might be a little bit low, but I don't want it super high anyway. You can see our bracket there. We got our bracket that I can interact with. I got it set up real nice. Looks like our first race is going to be between the Mondo M100 and the Marzetti Ventasso. So let's go ahead and swap out these bad boys. We need the Mondo M100. And perfectly on schedule. Nice, thanks. I tried. Sometimes my time on my desktop differs from the time on my phone, so I was hoping. And for our right lane, we need the Ventasso. Let's go ahead and replace that one. How's it going, Ictoagan? That's what I've been pronouncing it as in my head. I don't know if that's correct or even close to what you'd like to be called. Alright, so first round, in the left lane, we're going to have the Mondo M100. Give me a moment here, let me get this out of the way. Oop, there we go. Mondo M100, there we go. Featuring 1,300 horsepower, just a little bit over 2 pounds over 3,000 pounds. Not too, for what type of vehicle it is, that's pretty light. It's front engine rear wheel drive, featuring a pretty big 632 cubic inch V8. And this one was done by myself. And in our right lane, oh yeah, 2 of my own cars starting up. I didn't even realize. Right lane is going to be the Ventasso. There we are. With 3,000 horsepower, 3,000 plus horsepower. This is my baby. This is my baby for this competition. 3762 on the pound side, which seems pretty heavy. I don't know if that's correct. That's pretty damn heavy. Front engine, all-wheel drive, featuring a 994 cubic inch V12. So it's got some power. I believe it was also turboed. So we're gonna see how this thing does. Let's go ahead to this camera view. And I believe I can just hit J. Let me just make sure, hit play there. Yep. And they're off for our first round. Fairly even. Oh, but then the turbo kicks in for the Ventasso. And it's over. I couldn't even keep up with it with the camera. So I'm going to call that a winner by domination. So how we're going to do this is for the first, I think for the first 2 rounds, if we have a car that just absolutely dominates right out of the gate like this, we're not going to do a second round, like a 2 out of 3. Since this is no point. Like, there's not enough variation to do a second round for this kind of stuff. It's just a waste of your time. It's a waste of my time. So when one car dominates another, we're just going to call it a winner by domination and move on to the next round. We're going to call the Ventasso a winner. Let me report this score real quick. Verify the winner. Marzetti Ventasso, submit score. Sure, submit scores. There we go. Alright, so that's in. If we notice any wheel spin that's crazy, or one car like shakes a little bit or something weird, we will do a second round where they swap lanes just to make sure that everybody gets a fair shot. So let's go ahead, and for the next round we have the Holt Gala RS. Man, all my cars getting started up at the very beginning. Versus the CNM. There's the CNM. Where is my Holt? Here it is. This is my car for the V8 NA challenge that I made, and I tried to make it a version for drag. As I get this out of the way, I tried to make it a version for drag racing, and I couldn't make it any better than it already was. So that's what we got. And then we got this thing right here. We're not gonna look at the name of that too close, too much. I'm gonna replace current there. And I think we are ready. I'm gonna hit record here just in case we get a photo finish we're gonna need to look at. Got that ready? Let them rip. Gala RS right out of the gate. Faster than the CNM. I don't know if the CNM has turbo or not. I think it might, but it's not going to catch up to the Gala RS, and that's going to be a winner by domination. Let's go ahead and report that. Oh, I forgot to do the stats for that one. Sorry, guys. I'm going to forget shit. Get used to it. Alright. It's the first round anyway. I'll get better into it further on we go. I want to get past this first round of 32 motherfucking cars before we get too crazy. Next round is going to be between, or next race, the wagon. Oh right, this is our wagon race. So we're gonna replace this. And where's my other car? There we go. Where is the other wagon? Who's on the left, right? Yeah, here it is. And we definitely want to make sure we compare these ones. This is going to be an interesting one, I feel. This is our wagon showdown, if you will. So over here, we have the... I gotta remember which one this is because they have the exact same name almost. This is the drag wagon. There we go. So this one has 1550 plus horsepower, a little over 5,000 pounds. I don't know what the hell they're making this thing of. Fucking lead. It's super fucking heavy. Front engine all-wheel drive, featuring a 427 cubic inch V10. Now, normally a 427 engine would be a V8, but we got a V10 today, so we'll see how that goes. And, oops, went past it. In our right lane, we have the, I'm going to call it wagon, because as you'll see here in a moment, if I can find it. It says wagon, but it's spelled wrong, so I don't know if I'm supposed to call that wagon or if I'm supposed to call it wagon. I'm not really sure. Either way, it has about the exact same amount of horsepower and a similar amount of weight. Also, front engine all-wheel drive. This one featuring a 427 cubic inch V8, which is the correct one in my opinion. As one of my favorite engines, actually, in real life. So we'll see how this does. This is going to be interesting. These are essentially, despite their looks, are identical vehicles as far as stats go. But stats aren't going to matter too much when we hit this button here and we see who wins. Off the line, it's going to be the drag wagon, which surprises me. It is a V10, so it's got more power. And yeah, it's going to come through. And that's a winner. Is that a domination, though? Maybe we should run it one more time. Other lane. So the drag wagon was in the left lane. Let's put it in the right lane. I think I did that right. Yeah. Alright, let's run it one more time. And it's looking like it's going to be the same thing. They're close. But the drag wag is going to win. Let's go ahead and put that one on through. That one surprised me. I thought the other one was going to get it. There's a little bit more horsepower, a little bit bigger engine. Let's report this. The drag wagon. Submit. Alright. Our next round is going to be between the Dorsch 802. There it is. I wish there was an easier way to do this, but there's just not, as far as I'm aware. And it's going to be great when we get some more tools available to us to do cool stuff like this. In the BT Motors Lucan STT. There we are. It's a badass looking car. Alright, so right lane we got the SST, the Lucan. Got about 400 horsepower. I don't know much about this one. 400 horsepower, and it is an inline 6 turbo. That's about all I know for this one. I didn't get much info on this. I couldn't get it. So that one's going to be a little bit of mystery, but we know it's cranking out about 400 horsepower. And in the left lane, we have the Dorsch 802, which cranks out a measly 238 horsepower. It is the least horsepower vehicle submitted to this competition. And I'd love if it won, because that would be fucking great. Or at least won this race. It's not going to win the whole thing, sorry. But we're going to see what it can do. And I believe it is one of only 2 rear-engine vehicles submitted, the other one by myself. So we'll see how it does. Pretty light, decent engine. We'll see. I won't count it out of this race. That's for sure. Let's let him go. Out of the gate, it's going to be the blue car, which his name I forgot. The Lucan. And it's going to be the Lucan all the way down the track to the finish line. That's definitely a winner by domination, if you ask me. So let's go ahead and take the Lucan. Submit score. And he's going to be moving on in the next round with the Protos Dragwagon facing up against him. I feel like the Dragwagon is going to win that one, but we'll have to see. Our next round is going to be a good one. We have the, and if you're here, whoever made this car, I can't remember your name. If you're here, feel free to correct me on the pronunciation of this. We have the Angelerini Peregrinus. I've been going with Peregrinus. I don't know if that's right though. And in our other lane, we have the, can I skip this song, please? What? This was supposed to be no vocals. There we go. We have the McCarran Vantig. This is another one, man. You guys gotta pick easier names. I gotta pronounce this shit. Where is it? It's M's, right? Come on, there we go. Yeah, I don't know if this is Vantag or Vantage or Vantig. I don't fucking know. But we're gonna race it, that's for damn sure. So the Vantag is making about 1,600 horsepower. 5,000 pounds again, very heavy. It's mid-engine, all-wheel drive car with a pretty fucking massive 727 cubic inch V12 engine. That's going to be hard to beat, but if anybody can do it, it is the Angelerini Peregrinus, or that's how I'm going to pronounce it, making 1,700 horsepower. I don't have a weight on this car, but it is making about 1,100 foot-pounds of torque, 600 of that at idle, featuring a, once again, massive 790 cubic inch V10. I'm interested to see this one. I think this car's got it. I think the Peregrinus is gonna win it over the Vantig. But we'll just have to hit J and find out. Off the gate, my prediction is correct. You never know, turbos might kick in. This is not gonna happen though. It's gonna be winner by domination for sure. That is the Peregrinus gonna win that one. What is this music? This is not supposed to be here. I don't even know the music is audible. Someone please tell me if you can even hear the music. I know my audio mix can be fucked up sometimes. Apparently, I'm just like lower than everybody else that exists, and I can't get it up, man. Had that problem in other areas, but just can't get it up. All right, so next round we're gonna have the Commandant Brunetti. Somewhere over here. Is it not in the C's? Here it is. It's in the H's. The Huxley Commandant Brunetti, that is. Versus. Oh, we have two Huxleys going up against each other. The Huxley NASCAR 1998 version. We'll see how these two do against each other. See, the NASCAR is going to have 530 horsepower, 3,300 pounds approximately, front engine rear-wheel drive, 358 cubic inch V8, all very standard, all very NASCAR. All of that makes sense as a NASCAR fan myself. That seems about right. I can't call anything out there as being incorrect. In our left lane, I believe it's this one right here. Yeah, the Commandant Brunetti. I think that's right. Let me make sure. Yeah, SSVX. Well, I hope that's right. Let me make sure, actually. Yeah, that's it. Okay. SSVX Brunetti. It's going to be making about 970 horsepower. A little bit heavier than the other car, though. Front engine all-wheel drive with a 420 cubic inch V10. My prediction, this guy's going to win this race and move on. But they're both made by the same person, so hopefully that person is happy with the results here. We're going to let him go down the track. Brunetti's going to be out front, out of the gate. Going to be out front all the way down the track. That is going to be a winner by domination. He's going to be moving on to face the Angelini Peregrinus, where I think he might have a bad time, to be honest. Let's submit that. Alright, let's move on to the next one. Getting a little quicker here. So this round we have the 1970 Orchestral Forte. Versus the Gallivant RS. Two classic cars. This is our classic car challenge. We had our wagon challenge earlier. This is going to be classic cars facing off in the first round. Let's do a quick comparison of these guys. This is the Gallivant, I believe. So the Gallivant featuring 286 horsepower, a little bit over 3,600 pounds, front engine rear-wheel drive like a classic muscle car, and a 5.8 liter 354 cubic inch V8, all very standard muscle car stats there. Can't take too much away from that. And this guy right here, the Orchestral Forte, going to be making about 280 horsepower. That's about the same as the other one. I did not get a weight on this car, but we know it makes 366 foot-pounds torque. Front engine rear-wheel drive with a 378 cubic inch V8. So this is going to be a pretty even one, I feel. I'm going to make sure I hit the record button here so we can get a photo finish if we need to. That out of there. Let's hit J. Very slow out of the gate for both vehicles. Looks like the Orchestral Forte is going to have a little bit of an advantage. Down the track, all combined 530 horsepower. The Orchestral Forte is going to win. I don't know if that's by domination, though. That was pretty close. I said we swap those lanes up, try it again, just to make sure. So we had the Forte in the left lane. Let's get him in the right lane. Put this guy in the left lane. Let's try it one more time real quick. Just to make sure that Forte is going to be the one moving on. And it looks like that's going to be the case. Eventually. I'm going to take a sip of my drink while I wait for these guys to finish. Yep, Forte got it. He's moving on. All right. Oh, next one's going to be good, too. Get another good race coming up. We got the Cubster Sport 1004C. Versus the Cubster Cray Z. So the Cubster Crazy is making a crazy amount of horsepower at 2450 plus, just a little bit over 3,000 pounds, which is pretty fucking light. Mid-engine all-wheel drive, which seems to be pretty alright, and a 458 cubic inch V8, which is not as big as I'd expect with that much horsepower. So they really cranked it out of this one. In our left lane, we have the Sport 1004C Cubster, making just over 1,000 horsepower, about 2,500 pounds, front engine all-wheel drive, and a very surprisingly small for the amount of horsepower. Once again, 153 cubic inch inline 4. So we'll see how this does. I got my money on the Crazy. That's just a massively more amount of horsepower. And off the line it shows. Oh, but that turbo, he picked it up. The Crazy's still going to win it, but not by as much as I would have expected. I'm still going to call that a winner by domination. And we're going to move the Crazy into the next round. There we are. But yeah, not by as much as I expected. Or, like, based on the launch out the gate. Our next round is going to be the Nagasaki Wangan I believe? One I? I believe it's just an I. Or it's just one of those little bar symbols. Not really sure. I'm calling it the I. Might as well just call it the Wangan. Oops. There we are. Versus my baby, my other baby. We met my baby earlier, but this is my other baby. The Small Bantam. I made this car very recently. And it is just one of my favorites I've ever made. The Small Bantam makes a whopping 263 horsepower. You had to go to the VOD. Aw. Just 1,100 pounds. Just over 500 kilograms. That is feather light. This weighs nothing. Powered by a rear engine rear-wheel drive, one of only two rear-wheel drive vehicles, or sorry, not rear-wheel drive, one of only two rear engine vehicles entered into this competition. The other one's already been eliminated. So we'll see if this guy can hold his own. And he's powered by a 182 cubic inch Boxer 6 engine. Now for our left lane, we have the Nagasaki Wangan making 517 horsepower, weighing in at a little bit over 2,200 pounds. Front engine, front wheel drive, which I believe might be the only one of those we have in this competition, if I'm not mistaken. And featuring a 350 cubic inch V8, classic 350. I think this is going to be a good one. I know my Small Bantam, he gets, he's pretty fast out of the gate. He's not too fast down the rest of the track, but he's got the acceleration out of the gate. And I think that might be where we're going to win it. So let's go ahead. Oh, I just changed the camera. Oh no, I ruined everything. I think we're good. Yep, there we go. Close enough. Let's hit J and find out. Out of the gate, they got a little bit of wheelie by the Bantam. They're close, neck and neck. I'm gonna hit the record just so we can get a photo finish if we need it. But we don't. It's gonna be the Nagasaki Wangan, just barely. And that is definitely not a domination. So we're gonna have to run that one again. Switch the lanes up. So the Wangan needs to be in the right lane this time. And he needs to be in the left. Let's run it back. Round 2. I gotta fix this camera. I think that's good. Hit J. Out of the line. They're pretty close. I think the Bantam's got him. Down the track, Bantam still up front. At the finish line. That was the Wangan. I hate to say it, but that was the Wangan. He's going to move on. Just barely, though. That was a close one. I almost want to look at the replay on that one, but I'm confident that was the Wangan. So he's going to move on. Just barely. That was a great race. And our next one's going to be the RX-7. Very creative name on that one. Versus the BT Motors Barris SST. Barus, possibly? I can't find it. Here it is. Got a truck in the competition. We got a couple trucks. This is one of them. I believe we have 3, actually. We're going to set these guys up. The RX-7 makes about 870 horsepower, weighing in at about 3,500 pounds. It's a front-engine rear-wheel drive car, powered by a 225 cubic inch Boxer 6 engine. The BT Motors Barris, wherever it is, I need to click on the thing. I can't find it. Here it is. Barris SST. 588 horsepower, about 4,000 pounds. Pretty heavy, but it is a truck after all. Front engine, all-wheel drive, powered by a 513 cubic inch V10. It's a pretty big motor. We're gonna hit J and see which one of these guys wins it. Barris, out of the gate. Down the track, I don't know if we've got some turbo in that RX-7 to power it through. That was a pretty close race. I'm still going to call it a winner by domination. I don't think the RX-7 is going to beat him in any reality. I'm going to go ahead and mark the Barris as the winner of that. Let's move on to the next one. We have the Moniker Drag Spec. Versus the 94 Catalina Suprema. This is going to be interesting. Alright, so the Catalina Suprema makes about 295 horsepower at about 260 foot-pounds torque. I do not have a weight on this vehicle. Front engine all-wheel drive and powered by a 3-liter V6. Honestly, one of my favorite looking cars in this whole competition. I really like this. It looks very genuine. Looks like something that very well could have existed. Very real. Out of all these, I think this might be my favorite looking vehicle. So props to whoever made that. It's very well done. In our left lane, one of the vehicles that's closer to my heart, because I love hatchbacks. If I can find it here. There it is. The Moniker Drag Spec, 299 horsepower, about the same amount as the other vehicle. Little over a ton. Front engine. Oh, we have another front-wheel drive car, so we have 2 entered into the competition. All right. Powered by a 2.5 liter inline 4. This is pretty close to what I drive every day, to be honest, minus the drag spec part. Sorry. But let's run them. See how they do. Drag spec off the line. Loses his exhaust system, but that's not going to matter. About halfway down the track. He's got him by a mile. And the Moniker is going to beat the Catalina Suprema by quite a bit. I'm going to call that a winner by domination. See, sometimes I get the graphic up there. Professional, you know. Alright, Moniker Drag Spec. I'm going to send him to the next round here. My little scoreboard. And our next round, going to be the Brigand Annihilator. 1968 Brigand Annihilator, that is. Versus... I always forget how to say this word. I even looked it up. The Falchion GT, I believe, is correct. I pronounced that word as Falchion for so long in my life, as long as I knew that word. And that it's in my head as that. Here it is. But I believe it is Falchion. So we'll get these cars ready. In our left lane is going to be the car which his name I forgot. It's going to be the Brigand Annihilator. There it is. There's just way too many cars in this competition. There it is. All right. Brigand Annihilator 1968. Going to make about 273 horsepower. Not very much. Despite all that engine you can see in it. It's a 3-speed automatic. Front engine, rear wheel drive. Powered by 422 cubic inch V8. Nothing out of the ordinary there. Seems pretty much par for the course. And in our right lane is going to be the Falchion GT. Making 430 horsepower. Weighing in at about 2,800 pounds. Mid-engine all-wheel drive vehicle powered by a 3.6 liter V10. Let's line these boys up and see how they do. Falchion out of the gate by a little bit. Down the track, it's still the Falchion. Not by as much as you might expect, but he's definitely going to win by domination and move on to the next round. There it is. Alright, let's move the Falchion on. Verify the winner. Falchion GT. Kind of was hoping he'd lose, so I'd stop having to try to pronounce Falchion. Falcon? I don't fucking know. I swear, I went to Google like 6 times over the past week and had it say that word to me so I wouldn't forget, and here we are. Alright, next round is going to be the Snakebite Cromwell, which is down here somewhere. Here we are. Versus the Fury 2 V12 Roadhog. Here it is. This thing was badass too. This is a beautiful car. Good job, whoever the hell made this. It's great looking. Alright, it's great looking, and I already forgot his name. The Fury 2, here we are. There we go. Fury 2 V12 Roadhog, making 1,100 horsepower, weighing in at almost 2 tons. That's very heavy for this type of vehicle. It's mid-engine, all-wheel drive, powered by a 458 cubic inch V12. That's pretty sizable. Nothing too crazy though. And here we have our Cromwell. Oops. There we are. Snakebite Cromwell, making a whopping 2,250 horsepower, weighing in at over 2 tons, another very heavy vehicle. Front engine all-wheel drive, powered by a absolutely gargantuan 869 cubic inch V12. We'll see who gets it. I'm gonna record this one just in case it's a photo finish. And they're pretty close off the line. The Cromwell's got him by a bit. And the Cromwell's just going to kick it into overdrive here at the end and absolutely destroy the Fury. So that's going to be winner by domination on the Cromwell's part. And we're getting through here almost to the second round, the second part of the bracket. We got about 3 more races. So we'll get into some good shit soon. Our next race is going to be the Cubster Tricky Turbo B4. Versus the Lynx Le Mans. Right here. Eventually. Took that 1 minute to load. Alright, so the Cubster Turbo B4, Tricky Turbo B4, makes about 934 horsepower, almost 1,000. Weighing in pretty light at 2,200 pounds, just over a ton. Mid-engine all-wheel drive vehicle powered by a 227 cubic inch Boxer 4. Not too bad. I like it. I would have rather have been a rear engine. I like the rear engine cars. There's not enough of them were entered into the competition. And here we have the Lynx Le Mans, making 575 horsepower, weighing in at about 2,500 pounds, mid-engine rear-wheel drive. So we got a couple of those. Was the other one all-wheel drive or rear-wheel drive? Can't remember. But two mid-engine cars going up against each other, regardless. Powered by a 2-liter V12. Very interesting engine, in my opinion. I don't know a lot about these types of cars, but that seems unorthodox to me in my world. But we'll see which one does it better. Off the line, going to be the Turbo by quite a bit. And he's just going to absolutely annihilate the Le Mans. Also known as a Domination. So the Cubster Tricky Turbo B4 is going to be moving on. Our next round is going to be the Bronco. No other name other than Bronco. That is all we know this thing by. It is just Bronco and nothing else. Versus, there's another one I'm not sure on the name, but it is the, if I can find it, here it is. The Automobilia Romeo? Not really sure. I'm going to go with Romeo. I like that a little bit better. I love the look of this thing, too. I think this is the same person who made the Catalina Suprema, and I love both of those. These just look great. Very well done. Good quality. So, the Romeo, another sub 300 horsepower vehicle, sitting at 306 foot-pounds torque, front engine all-wheel drive, powered by a 2.4 liter inline 4. Nothing crazy there. It's a very, very standard vehicle in all parts, really. Up against the Bronco, which is making a pretty massive, over 1,500 horsepower, weighing in at a pretty massive 5,227 pounds. Front engine 4x4, the only 4x4 vehicle entered into this competition, period. Powered by a 367 cubic inch V8. So we'll see about this one. It's pretty much the most normal car entered into the competition versus the most odd car entered into the competition. Or vehicle. I can't even call it a car. It's a fucking monster truck. So we'll see how this goes. Off the line, the Bronco's not moving. It's the Romeo. Is the Bronco going to catch up, though? He's moving, but is he moving fast enough? No, he is not. And the 293 horsepower Romeo kicks the Bronco's ass. I'm going to run that one more time just to make sure that something didn't happen with the Bronco there. So the Bronco was left lane, so we're going to make him right lane. And run this one again. Swap their lanes, run them again. Just to make sure this is correct. And once again, off the line. I don't know if it's just some strange turbo tuning or what that is. these cars launch at an idle in first gear, essentially. So maybe that had something to do with it. But once again, the Romeo absolutely dominates. But if this track would have been a half mile instead of a quarter mile, I think that Bronco would have won it. Unfortunately for him, though, we're going to have the Automobilia Romeo go into the next round. A little bit of a surprise there. And our last round before round 2, I need to come up... Our last race before round 2, I should say. It's going to be the Cubby Lil Drag. Versus the 72 Lynx Deluxe. Automation differentials bug out sometimes with all-wheel drive. It was 4x4, but yeah, I imagine it's the same deal. All-wheel drive 4x4. What's the difference, right? Alright, let's line these bad boys up. Probably the reason for the slow start. Yeah, I imagine. I don't know, that's why I let people enter 4 cars, for issues like that. Alright, so here we have the 72 Lynx Deluxe. Which, another one of the cars I really like in this competition. Looks very nice, something I would totally pick up for like $1,500 and fix up. The only problem I see is this little baby hood scoop here. I don't have my pointer activated, so you can't see it, or my mouse cursor. You can't see where I'm pointing, but you can see the, like, massively tiny little hood scoop. That's adorable. This thing makes 500 horsepower, weighs about 3,200 pounds, front engine rear-wheel drive, 375 cubic inch V8. Out of all the classic muscle cars, I think that is the largest engine we've had, if I'm not mistaken, in those types of vehicles. And he's up against this little guy, one of my favorite automation bodies. This is the Cubby Lil Drag. So another drag specialized vehicle making 1,050 horsepower, weighing in at under a ton. I believe one of 2 vehicles in the competition weighing under a ton. The other one did not make it through the first round. It's a front engine all-wheel drive vehicle, powered by a 153 cubic inch V6. Boxer 6. So let's see how this goes. And off the line, he tried. Okay, so his this guy's back wheels. Let's watch this guy win. He's trying his best. He might make it one day. Yeah, that's an oof, alright. Let's see if this guy can make it down the track with... Oh, the other guy's already going down the track again. He's making a second pass. Oh, man. I'm so sorry. The Cubby Lil Drag. Oh, we're going to have a crash here in a second. Oh, this isn't going to be good. He needs to get out of the way. There we go. I'm going to wait for him to make it down the track. See if he can. Don't back up. Don't back up. This is great. Come on. I said I was gonna wait for you. You gotta make Daddy proud here. Here you go. Come on. I don't know if it's gonna happen. All right, let's load that up one more time just to make sure that wasn't a fluke of some sort. This other guy's made like 10 passes. Come on, can you do it? I'll give you one more chance. One more chance to get... Okay, never mind. You're useless. I guess I'll swap the lanes. I'm not sure how much that's going to matter. Let's put the Lil Drag in the right lane. And let him go and the exact same thing happens. Okay, so this car was built without a rear axle. He's doing better this time, though. Oh, no, never mind. From the first camera angle, I shouldn't have switched cameras. It would have looked like he was doing good. All right. With that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move the Lynx Deluxe to the next round. I'm very sorry, Cubby Lil Drag. Very sorry. All right. I'm actually gonna unpause and let him get away from that wall so I can spawn another vehicle. Alright, and this is gonna be the start of round 2. I'll go ahead and let you guys sneak a look at our bracket here. So it's looking like we got the Marzetti Ventasso moving on, along with the Holt Gala RS, both made by myself. They're going to knock each other out. Followed by the Protos Dragwagon, the BT Motors Lucan, then the Angelerini Peregrinus, if I'm pronouncing that correctly, versus the Commandant Brunetti. Next round, number 4, we have the 1970 Orchestral Forte SS versus the Cubster Crazy. That's going to be a not interesting round at all. Then we have the Nagasaki Wangan versus the BT Motors Barris SST. Then we have the Moniker Dragspec versus the fucking Falcon GT. I think that's correct this time. Then the Snakebite Cromwell versus the Cubster Tricky Turbo. Then the Automobilia Romeo, the surprise winner, versus the Lynx Deluxe. Another, I don't know if you call it a surprise winner. We're not really sure. I don't know how fast it was still because the other car did this. So we're going to move on here to our second round. And I'm still going to do dominations for this round. I might not do them for round 3 out of 5 rounds total. So our Marzetti Ventasso versus... Oh, this is a pleasant song. It's forced me to change my tune a little bit. Versus the Holt Gala RS. This is like Sims music. And I think I forgot to introduce these vehicles for their first round. So let's go ahead and get that out of the way now. So these are both made by me. We have the right lane, the Marzetti Ventasso, cranking out an absolutely ginormous 3,000 horsepower, also weighing in at 3,700 pounds. It's a front-engine all-wheel drive vehicle. The powered by, I'm sorry guys, it's a 994 cubic inch V12. It is the biggest engine in the game as far as I can tell, without buying DLC to get the V16. And I stuffed it in. There's like 2 cars it fits in. This is one of them. This is my baby. Don't mess with my baby. And in our left lane, my car from the V8 NA Challenge, unchanged. I said before, I tried to make a drag version out of it, but it was just fastest as is. 700 horsepower, little over a ton, pretty light. Front engine all-wheel drive vehicle, powered by a 458 cubic inch V8. So let's let them rip. Off the line, they're going to be about even. Through the rest of the track, the turbo kicks in on the Ventasso. And there is no competition there at all. Ventasso moves on. Domination. And we move on to our next race. The cars I sent seem to be missing from the race. Which ones are that? Which ones did you send? Your name doesn't look familiar. But it could be different from the other one. This race is going to be the Proto Dragwagon. Or Protos Dragwagon, rather. Versus the BT Motors Lucan. Yeah, it's possible I just totally missed some. People were posting them in different threads and all kinds of stuff. I thought I got all of them, but it's possible something slipped through. I found like 3 or 4 different things that I accidentally missed already, so hopefully I didn't, but I guess if you're saying I did, then I can't call you a liar too much. Alright, right lane here is going to be the Protos Dragwagon, making 1,550 horsepower. This is the car that weighs 5,000 weighs 5,000 horsepower, weighs 5,000 pounds, a little bit over that. Front engine all-wheel drive, 427 cubic inch V10. Drag utility, yeah. I did not see any of those at all. I went over it a million times. I just missed all of that, I guess. I'm sorry, man. I didn't see him. That's strange. I went over every thread like a bunch of times. You said on Reddit as a PM? I never saw a PM. Give me a second, guys. Messages. God, the Reddit, like, inbox thing is just terrible. I'm not seeing it immediately, but I'm doing a bad job at looking for it as well. You know, here's... Yeah, I don't see it here at all. Are you sure you sent it to the right name? I'm looking through them right now. I don't see it. So, I don't know. Yeah, I never got that message. At least on my end. But let's continue. I'm sorry about that, man. If you want to send that to me again, or just post a reply, then to one of the threads, I'll include you on the next thing. And I'm going to use this this set of cars for more competitions down the road. With other drag tracks, maybe they're a little bit different, less grip at the start or something, maybe get some different results. I'm going to test it a little bit and we'll see. So if you send me that, I'll throw you in. Yeah, this is the... Sorry, intermission over. Back to the racing. We have the BT Motors Lucan, which I have stats for somewhere. Here we are. And this thing, I didn't get any information on this. All I know, 400 horsepower, inline 6 turbo. That's all we know. It's performed well so far. It made it into the second round, so let's see how it does against the Drag Wagon. They're gonna drop and go. Off the line, pretty close. The Lucan has him by a bit. But as they go down the track, the Drag Wagon is gonna be our winner by domination. Reddit doesn't like me, it's fine. I'm sorry, man. That sucks. Yeah, I never noticed it. I should have sent out a thing or posted something saying, like, which entries had been so far so that people knew whether or not theirs had been in or not. That's my bad. I'll work on that next time. But, alright. Proto's Dragwagon wins this race. He's going to move on to face the Marzetti Ventasso. The Lucan, unfortunately, is the loser. Going to move on to the next one. One of my favorite cars entered so far. The Angelerini Peregrinus, making 1,700 horsepower, versus the Commandant Brunetti, which makes 970 horsepower. So, kind of almost half. Don't do the math, because it's going to be wrong, but I'm telling you, it's about half. And off the line, the Peregrinus looks like he's going to take it. For a second, it looked like the Brunetti might have had something for him down the about halfway point of the track. But that's going to be the Peregrinus with the domination. He's going to move on to the round 3. All right, next race is going to be the 1970 Orchestral Forte. Versus The Cubster Crazy. Who won the last two Twitch Borked again? The Protoss Dragwagon versus the BT Motors Lucan. The Protoss Dragwagon won. The Marzetti Ventasa versus the Holt Gala RS. The Marzetti Ventasa won. And the Angelerini Peregrinus versus the Commandant Brunetti. The Peregrinus won. So this is our next one. I think I already got both the cars set up, didn't I? I think so. We'll go with it. Yeah, we do. Alright, I'm not going to go over the detailed stats at this point until we get like to the last rounds. This car does make 2,450 horsepower versus that black car over there, the Orchestral Forte, which makes about 280. So we'll set him. No surprises here. I think he's already gone. I couldn't even get to the camera in time. Alright, I think that's a win. I think it's a domination on the Cubster Crazy's part. Let's keep moving on. He's not even down the track yet. Oh, that's sad. I'm sorry. Whoever made the Orchestral Forte, I'm so sorry. You made it into the second round, though, which is already impressive. Here we have the Nagasaki Wangan, who just barely edged out the small Bantam in round one, versus the BT Motors Barris. The Wangan makes about 517 horsepower. The Barris, the orange truck on your left there, makes about 588. So this could be a very close race. Let's set him off. Off the line, pretty much even. The Wangan has him by a little bit. Down the track, it's going to be the Wangan. And across the line, across the line, going to be the Wangan. And that's a domination, too. The Barris isn't going to be able to keep up with him. So we're going to move the Wangan on to the next round. And move on to our next race, which features the Moniker Drag Spec versus the Falcon GT, which I've once again forgot how to say. Falcon, I believe is correct. We'll get there by the end of the competition. I just hope that it loses this round so I can stop saying it. And these two are made by the same person, I believe. Yeah, they're the same color. They're from the same team. The Drag Spec 299 horsepower, the Falcon 430 horsepower. We'll set them up and break them down here. They both lose their exhaust on the way out the gate. I guess that's a feature of this team's cars. And down the track, they're pretty close to even. But the Falcon is going to take the win. That's not a domination, though. We got to set that up again and make sure that's correct. So we're going to put the Falcon in the left lane. Put the Moniker in the right lane. Start them up again. Let them loose. It's looking like it's going to be about the same. Falcon will be your winner. Gonna knock out the Drag Spec. Falcon moves on to the next round. This race, we have the Snakebite Cromwell. Somewhere. Here it is. Versus the Cubster Tricky Turbo B4. Snakebite Cromwell pushing 2,250 horsepower. Cubster Tricky Turbo pushing out, I believe, 930 horsepower. It's a little bit cut off on my screen, so I don't see 9.3, but I imagine it's not 9,300, so we're going to go with 930 horsepower. Let's set them off. And the Cromwell off the line, but the turbo's not going to kick in enough for the Cubster. And that's going to be a domination. The Cromwell is going to move on. All right, last race for round 2. It's going to feature the 1993 Automobilia Romeo. Or sorry, Romeo, sorry. Versus the 72 Lynx Deluxe. Now, if you remember, the Lynx Deluxe last time kind of had a bye race, if you will, due to issues plaguing the other, his opponent, not his component, where his axle did not function at all. So we've got a bye race winner and the Automobilia Romeo, who won against a Bronco that had 1,500 horsepower. So we've got two kind of oddballs here that, under different circumstances, may not have made it into round 2, but one of them is going to make it into round 3. Let's set them loose. Off the line, going to be the Deluxe. I don't know if the Romeo has some turbo that he's going to kick in here. If he does, it's not going to be enough. And the Deluxe wins the race. Followed not too far by the Romeo, but it's far enough that I'm going to call that a domination and mark the Lynx Deluxe as our winner. And alright, we're going to have another look at our bracket here. This is the bracket as of right now. Go ahead and take a look at that. We are now into round 3. All right. Set up for the next race. We have the Marzetti Ventasso, my baby, 3,000 horsepower versus the Protos Dragwagon, a little bit over 1,500 horsepower. They both weigh quite a bit. The Dragwagon, you know, for what it is, doesn't really weigh too much. My Ventasso is pretty heavy though, so we'll see who wins this. We're gonna hit J and let him drop. Ventasso off the line with some crazy speed compared to the Dragwagon. The Dragwagon pulls a little bit on him about halfway, but it's going to be a domination by the Ventasso. In our next race, the Angelerini Peregrinus versus the Cubster Crazy. This is probably one of the most interesting ones we've had so far. Between fast cars, this is the most interesting one we've had so far. So the blue car over there is going to be the Angelerini Peregrinus, making about 1,700 horsepower, versus the Cubster Crazy, cranking out about almost 2,500 horsepower. So this, let's see how they do. I'm going to hit record here just in case we get a photo finish. I don't want to have to go off of some, 30 FPS bullshit on Twitch. Off the line there, even. Down the track, it's the Peregrinus. At the finish, that was close. Oh my god. We're going to have to get a replay on that. And that's going to be the Peregrinus. I'm pretty sure. How do I forget how to jump single frames, but I'm pretty sure that's the Peregrinus. If anybody remembers how to jump single frames within the replay thing, let me know, because I do not remember. But that's the Peregrinus. We are definitely going to set this up and run it again, though. That was a close one. Nope. That's not it. This is not official. There we go. Also, this is actually the same race as before. No, it's not. I'm working on it. We're having some technical difficulties. Close replay. When I press J to pause the game, and I've just recently touched the replay thing, it pauses the replay instead. So we have the Peregrinus in the left lane. We're going to put him in the right lane. And put this guy in the left lane. Set him up, run him again. Hit record. Off the line, they're pretty close. And that was definitely the Peregrinus. 100%. 100% the Peregrinus. I'll play the replay just to make sure. But yeah, that's him. All the way. Alright, the Peregrinus is going to move on just barely. That is a great race. He's going to move on to face the Ventasso in the semifinals. I honestly thought those might be our finals competitors, but one of them is going to get knocked out in the semifinals. Alright, let's replace these guys. Look, even... This is the first time I've ever replaced the cars. And they're just right next to each other. That is insane. If the track was a little bit longer, looks like the Crazy would have had him. Alright, next round. The Nagasaki Wangan. Which is somewhere. Here it is. It is nowhere. Oh, because I'm in replay still. Okay, fair enough. Close replay. That's... Please, game, help. I will choose the Wangan again. How'd you get your Mustang thing to launch so hard with 3,000 horsepower? I don't know. It might have something to do with me not having any idea how to set up a turbo. I know nothing about turbos at all. Like, any information that I have, like IRL for vehicles, is all naturally aspirated. I know absolutely nothing about turbos. So when I set it up, I didn't know what I was doing. And this was the result. So it might be a glitch, honestly. I have no idea. This is versus the Falcon GT. Right here. Alright. So the green thing on the right in the left lane is the Falcon GT making 430 horsepower. In the right lane, the purple boy is the Nagasaki Wangan making about 517. We're going to let him loose here. I'm going to hit record because this looks pretty close. Down the track, I think it's the Wangan. And yes, the Wangan's going to get the win there. Not as fast as some of the other races, but that one's definitely a win on the Wangan's part. We're going to load it up, run him again, just to make sure that nothing strange happened there. The Wangan was in the right lane, so we're going to put him in the left. Put this guy in the right lane. Set him up, run him again. Out of the gate, it's the Wangan by just a nose. And down the track, this is 100% Wangan territory. And he's going to win and move on to the semifinals. All right, last race in round 3. Last race before the semifinals. we have the Snakebite Cromwell versus the Lynx Deluxe, the 1972 Lynx Deluxe. I will say I'm glad my Deluxe, it's not my Deluxe, but I love the look of it. It's if I had to choose one of these cars to own in real life, regardless of price, that would probably be it. I like the Lynx Deluxe. I like the look of it. I love wagons. And it's like right in the year range that I love. I just love it. I love the way it looks. I like the color. The black top is real nice. So one of my favorites has actually made it to round 3, despite me not necessarily expecting it to. It's pretty low powered for getting all the way to round 3, but it's going to be up against the Snakebite Cromwell, which makes 2,250 horsepower, versus the Lynx Deluxe, 1972, which makes about 500. So we're going to let them go, and unfortunately, it looks like this is not going to be a competition at all. And the Cromwell, who has already passed the finish line, and we're still waiting, and there he goes. There's the Deluxe. So that's a domination, a round 3 domination, where the Cromwell will move on to compete against the Wangan. Let's get a look at the bracket again while I set up the next race. See, the Ventasso is going to go up against the Peregrinus. That's going to be a crazy race. I think that's our real finals right there. I think regardless of the second portion, the next race in the semifinals, I think our two that are coming up right now are going to be the ones to watch. This is going to be the crazy race. And I will be open. I've tested a few of these together in my time. I have not tested the Ventasso versus the Peregrinus. I held off. I didn't want to do it. I didn't want to know who would win that race. I knew they were going to be close. Rip me. I don't know. My thing is pretty fast, but I left speed on the table purposely. There can be a faster car. So, orange car. Now that we're in the semifinals, we'll go back to having little stats up there. I spent way too long on these to not use them. So in left lane over there, oh shit, hold on, game, hold on, I'm working on it. There we go. In the left lane, we have the 3,000 horsepower, 3,700 pound, front engine all-wheel drive, 994 cubic inch V12 turbo, Marzetti Ventasso by myself. And in the right lane, the blue vehicle, we have, it's somewhere, I promise, here it is, the Angelorini Peregrinus with 1,700 horsepower, 1,100 foot-pounds torque, 600 of that at idle, with a 790 cubic inch V10. It gets off the line quick, but both of these cars do. We'll see. We'll see how we do here. We're gonna not wait for this Christmas tree because it doesn't work, but we're gonna pretend it does. Do. Off the line is the Peregrinus by a hair, but then the turbo kicks in for the Ventasso, and it's gonna be the Ventasso by a little bit, a car length or two, I believe. Let's load them up again just to make sure. We got to run everything twice if we're in the semifinals. So the Ventasso's in the left lane, right? So we're going to put him in the right lane. Let me make sure I did that right. There we go. GG, I'm sorry. You can still win it, technically. We're going to run him again. You've got the better lane. You've got lane choice for this one. But no, that turbo kicks in about halfway down the track real well. And it gives me that win. I'm sorry. That was a good race, though. That was a really good race. The Ventasso is going to move on to the finals. If it makes you feel any better, I wasn't going to include my car in the race till I saw you entered that beast of a car, and I thought it would win, or would at least provide good competition for mine. So that's why I decided to include my Ventasso. Before this car and the other like 2,000 horsepower cars were entered, I was like, I can't put my 3,000 horsepower beast in this mix with like all these cars that make like 300 horsepower. It's just gonna kick their ass. It's not gonna be fun to watch. You're gonna know who the winner is. When this was entered in the Cromwell and the Cubster Crazy, I was like, okay, I've got competition. But good race, man. All right, second round of the semifinals. Gonna be the Nagasaki Wangan HPR Drag Edition versus the Snakebite Cromwell. See ya, Ictowagon. Have a good one, man. Good race. Alright, the Nagasaki Wangan. Making about 570 horsepower over there, the purple car in the left lane. Weighing in a little over a ton, front engine, front wheel drive. 350 cubic inch V8. Versus the Snakebite Cromwell. With 2,250 horsepower. Weighing a little over 2 tons. Front engine all-wheel drive. And an 869 cubic inch V12. So absolutely massive there. I'm going to hit record, and we're going to run them. Off the line, going to be the Cromwell by a bit. Down the track, it is the Cromwell all day long. And I'm going to call that a domination. That's a semifinals domination. I wasn't going to do them, but it's just, there's no point to run that through again. That race is going to send the Cromwell to the finals. And here we have it. Let me throw up this. There we go. In the finals, the Marzetti Ventasso versus the Snakebite Cromwell. I actually don't even have to move that car. I can keep it there. All right. In the finals, we just went over, but let's go over it again. The Snakebite Cromwell cranks out a whopping 2,250 horsepower, weighing in at just over 2 tons. This front-engine all-wheel drive vehicle features an 869 cubic inch V12 engine. Everything about that is massive. In the left lane, we have the Marzetti Ventasso with 3,000 plus horsepower, 3,762 pounds of weight in this vehicle. This front-engine all-wheel drive vehicle features a 994 cubic inch V12. Let us watch. Off the line, it's the Ventasso. And it's gonna be the Ventasso. Not by much. But he's gonna win the race. It's not over yet, though. We do have to run it one more time. Ventasso was in the left lane, so let's move him. This is the Snakebite. The Snakebite to the left lane. Ventasso to the right lane. Let's start him up again. And this is it. If the Ventasso wins this, he wins the whole competition. Off the line, it is the Ventasso. Down the track, it is the Ventasso. And the Ventasso will win. He will win the bracket challenge in the finals. It has been done. We have a winner declared. And there you go. That is it. I am going to, I'm going to take a quick break. And we're going to do the losers bracket. I got to set that up, so it's going to take me a second. All right, we are back with our Ventasso being the winner. I am going to do a bronze race first before we get into the loser's bracket. Let's go ahead and put the Angelerini Peregrinus. Versus the Nagasaki Wangan. I don't think we'll have any surprises here. But let's go ahead and run them. Neither of these cars need any introduction. Let's just run them. The Peregrinus gonna get off the line first. He's gonna go down the track. Well ahead of the Wangan is gonna take the third place, the bronze position in the bracket. I'm gonna go ahead and pop that bracket up one more time for you guys. And there's the final bracket. I do need to declare a winner here. It's gonna be the Ventasso. So there we go. Marzetti Ventasso is going to make the win. Snakebite Cromwell is going to be second. And in third place will be the Peregrinus, followed by fourth place, the Nagasaki Wangan. The Wangan made it surprisingly far. I don't know if it's just RNG with all the matchups or what it was, but did very well. Was up there with those 2,000 horsepower cars, which is pretty impressive. But let's move on to our losers bracket here. Give me a moment. Set this up. It's going to look a little jank, but it'll do. Let's see how this looks on stream. Good enough. It's not as perfect as the other one, but I don't have time to set this one up, so it'll be fine. In our first race in the losers bracket, the B bracket, if you will, it's going to be the Lynx Le Mans. Versus the Mondo M100. Let's set these bad boys up. We'll introduce cars starting in the semifinals. Just know I don't have the horsepower up here either. That sucks. Alright, well, we're just going to let him go. And the Mondo M100 is going to take a massive lead at the start. He's going to win the competition handily there. And that is a domination if I've ever seen one. So we're going to move the Mondo on to the next round. Set up for our next race is going to be the 94 Catalina Suprema. Versus the McCarran Vantig. Somewhere. There it is. And let's let him go. The Vantage off the line, out of the gate, through the rest of the track, a little weaving there near the end. But it's going to win that handily and move on in the next round, where it'll face the Mondo M100. All right, moving on. Next race. Going to be the Fury 2 V12 Roadhog. Okay, this is too pretty of music. Let's move on. There we go. It's a little better. Versus the Dorsch 802, the lowest horsepower vehicle entered into the competition. Let him race. Off the line is going to be the Fury. You can hear that turbo. Dorsch is not going to be able to keep up. This is going to be the Fury by a lot. All right, Fury moves on. Oops. Next round going to be the CNM. Versus the Cubby Lil Drag, which had some issues in the first round. Or in the A bracket. I can't imagine those will be fixed at this point. But I'm required to try it out anyway. Let's let him go. And once again, the rear axles brake on the Cubby Lil Drag. He's going to reverse his way down the track. But I'm gonna go ahead and let the CNM take that round. I'm sorry, Cubby Lil Drag. You were my favorite until your axles didn't work. Let's go ahead and report the CNM as the winner there. Next we have the Bronco, who also had some issues in the first round with a possible failing turbo of some sort. He's going to be facing the Cubster Sport 1004C. Oops, that's the wrong one. Not the tricky turbo. Where's it at? I don't see it. Here it is. It's in the S's, that's right. Bronco making 1,550 horsepower. I do remember that. Not able to use it, though, as there's an issue with this turbo that he's been having. Not sure if he's going to be able to capture a win versus the Cubster here, but we're going to let him try. And off the line, it is the Cubster. And down the track, it is the Cubster. And the winner is the Cubster Sport 1004C, followed eventually by the Bronco. Go ahead and move the Cubster on. Next race, we have the Brigand Annihilator versus the Wagon. It's an absolutely ridiculous looking vehicle. Very Hot Wheels-esque. It's low to the ground, low, chop top kind of looking deal. We're going to let him go. Wagon making a lot of horsepower. If I'm not mistaken, I believe it's like 1,500 horsepower. The Annihilator gets him off the line, though. But the turbo in that wagon, or what I assume is a turbo, just absolutely annihilates the Annihilator, and the wagon will move on. And in our 7th race of the B bracket, we have the Small Bantam versus the RX-7. Now, I'll admit, most of these I've got a good idea of who will win, but this is not one I have any idea. This could go either way very easily. That's not to say they're going to be close, but I don't know which car has more power to get down the track. I do know the small Bantam gets out of the gate, launches very fast, but it can be a little bit slower down the track versus something like the RX-7 maybe. So let's try him out. Out of the line, the Bantam with his little wheelies. He's going to make it about halfway through the track, got about 6 car lengths on the RX-7, and it looks like he's going to take the win. But you can see the RX-7 had more speed across the line there. But we're going to move the small Bantam into the next round, where he will face either the Huxley NASCAR or the Gallivant RS. Where is the Huxley NASCAR? There it is. We have another interesting competition here. We have a car that's not really designed for straight line speed, but has a large horsepower advantage. The Huxley NASCAR, featuring, I believe, nearly 600 horsepower, somewhere between 5 and 600 horsepower, versus the Gallivant RS, which is a car, it's muscle car, which is strictly designed for straight forward speed out of the gate down the track. But only featuring about 300 horsepower, so we'll see which one of these gets the win here. Out of the gate, they're going to be about even. The NASCAR is going to take a little bit of an advantage here, about 1 car length. Down the track, that seems to be about the case. And our NASCAR is going to move on to the next round, where he will face the small Bantam. And if you guys want to get a look at the B bracket, there you are. It's not as pretty of a screen capture as the A bracket, but you can still see what's going on. So round 2 is going to be the Mondo M100. Versus the McCarran Vantig. I can't find the McCarran Vantig. There it is. There's another interesting one. The McCarran Vantig has a lot of horsepower, so does the Mondo. Mondo being a truck, I don't know what to expect here. He's got a lot more weight on him, I imagine. Out of the line, they're fairly even. The Mondo M100 getting a little bit of an advantage. Down the track, weaving a little bit, but it's going to be the Mondo M100 with the win. He's going to move on to the semifinals. I don't know why it's a he, it's a car. I guess because it's a truck, it's a he, right? Alright, next race is going to be the Fury 2. V12 Roadhog. Versus the CNM. Let's let him off. The Fury, a little bit faster off the line. I don't know if we've got any turbo in that CNM to crank it past. It looks like that's going to be a big NO. And the Fury will be the one moving on to the semifinals. Next race is going to feature the Cubster Sport 1004C. versus the car only known as the Wagon, or the Wagon. I believe it is just wagon spelled incorrectly, but, you know, I'm not going to judge. It's fine. And they are off. The Wagon cranking about 1,500 horsepower, if I remember correctly. But that is going to be no match for the Cubster. He's going to win handily. And the Cubster will move on to the semifinals. All right, last race of round 2 in the B bracket. The beautiful Small Bantam versus the Huxley NASCAR. Small Bantam off the line with those wheelies. Oh, is he still riding? He's still got a wheelie. Oh, he's holding it. He's holding it. He's holding it. He's holding it. And he's down. And he wins the race. He wins the race with the wheelie through half the track. That is amazing. That was a close race, though, and we had some interesting things going on, so we're going to run a second one. Swap the lanes up a little bit. Or the only amount that they can be swapped, since there's only 2 lanes. The Small Bantam was in the left lane. We're going to put him in the right lane. Going to put the NASCAR in the left lane. And we're going to run him again. See if we get any different results. The Small Bantam, let's see if we can get a wheelie down the entire length of the track again. He's got little wheelies. Doesn't look like he had the one he had last time. No, he's going to put it on the ground. And it's much faster this time. But he is going to win the race. And move on to the semifinals. That was amazing. All done by the AI. That is crazy. Small Bantam, submit score. Move on to the semifinals. Alright. And now we are at the semifinals. Let's get a good look at that bracket one more time. That B bracket. Almost more entertaining than the A bracket was, in my opinion. Our first race is going to feature the Mondo M100, though, as you can see, versus the Fury 2. Let's get some stats on these guys now that we're in the semifinals. The Mondo M100 features 1,300 horsepower, just over 3,000 pounds. It's a front-engine rear-wheel drive vehicle featuring a 632 cubic inch V8. Pretty large engine there. He's going to be up against the Fury 2 V12 Roadhog, which has 1,100 horsepower. It's going to be pulling 3,800 pounds. It's a mid-engine all-wheel drive vehicle with a 458 cubic inch V12. Both these cars very powerful. I don't know who's going to win this. Off the line, though, is going to be the Mondo. Down the track, a little bit of swerving. But he's going to make it. That's the Mondo all day long. And he's going to move on to the finals. I feel bad. All my cars are going to the finals. All right. And this next race will decide the other person going to the finals. It's going to be the Cubster Sport 1004C Turbo versus the Wheelie Master, the Small Bantam. The Cubster Sport 1004C has about 1,000 horsepower, pulling 2,500 pounds, just about. It's a front-engine all-wheel drive car powered by a 153 cubic inch inline 4. Interesting little car. But maybe not as interesting as the small Bantam, which has a measly 263 horsepower, but it only needs to pull about 500 kilograms. It is a rear-engine, rear-wheel drive car, which is what's causing those wheelies that we saw the last round. It has a 182 cubic inch Boxer 6. So we'll see what happens here. Off the line, it's the Bantam with wheelies in the right lane. Oh, but then immediately the turbo kicks in for that 1004C. And he is going to be the winner. I fucked up my cameras. But he is the winner. He's going to move on to the finals. Now, we don't need to replace him. We only need to replace the small Bantam. Let me go ahead and report that the Cubster won that. All right. So this is going to be the Mondo M100 versus the Cubster Sport 1004C. We've already been introduced to these cars, but let's go over it one more time. The Mondo M100 has about 1,300 horsepower, weighing just about a ton and a half. It's a front-engine rear-wheel drive car featuring a 632 cubic inch V8. And the 1004C. It's spinning. I'm not controlling the spinning, but it looks kind of cool, so we'll go with it. 1,000 horsepower, 2,500 pounds, front-engine all-wheel drive car, 153 cubic inch inline 4. I'd like to stop spinning now, please. There we go. Thank you. And this is our final round. This race will determine, unless it's very close and we need a second one, this race will determine our winner of the B bracket. Oh, and it is the Mondo off the line, but we know that turbo is going to kick in for the 1004C. And he's going to come up the track. He's gaining on him, but it's not going to be enough. The Mondo takes the win. We're going to go ahead and set up a second race just to make sure there's no funny business going on. Let me make sure is in the left lane. So let's put this guy in the right lane. This guy in the left lane. Let him go one more time. If the Mondo wins this, he wins the B bracket. He's got it off the line. Oh man, the turbo is just almost enough, but not quite. You can see he's faster off the line. Or sorry, he's faster at the line. The Cubster is. But the Mondo 100 will take your B bracket. And that's going to be it. That is everything. The Mondo M100 will win the B bracket. I'll show that on screen here in a moment. Started with 16 cars for the B bracket. All of our losers from the first round of the A bracket. They went all the way down to the Mondo M100 and the Cubster Sport 1004C, which the Mondo M100 easily won by a couple car lengths. And then we have our A bracket, which went all the way down to the semifinals, featuring the Marzetti Ventasso and the Angelini Peregrinus, which we needed a photo finish to determine the winner of that. The Ventasso moved on to the finals, though. The Wangan and the Snakebite also competed, the Snakebite winning that. Then competing in the finals with the Ventasso. The Ventasso won that race very handily compared to the semifinals. That's going to be it. The Ventasso wins the entire challenge, including the A bracket, and the Mondo M100 will win the B bracket. And that is all I have for you folks today. I'm going to grab myself another LaCroix, and I think we're going to do some GeoGuessr to round it out. I kind of want to do the Kingdom Come Deliverance DLC, but I've heard it's not really that great, and I really don't feel like spending $8 today and trying to buy it and wait for it to download while streaming. But thanks to everyone who showed up just for automation / BeamNG stuff. Big thanks to you guys. I enjoyed this competition. It was really fun. And I'm probably going to do another one of these, very similar. Maybe a little bit less production quality, since that was a lot of work on my part, to be honest. But thank you all again, and have a great night. We're going to be starting up with some GeoGuessr in a bit.